Tooraluralai, 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 tooraluralai. Hey, hey. Say! And that's right. Tooralai, Tooralura something.
Lahi.
Because this is
Laddie.
American Brews and Tunes.
Here's a theme song, you know it's not a mean song. It's a good song, just as it should song. American Brews and Tunes. Shibbity beeby dow.
We're back. We're back with a regular formatted episode of American Brews and Tunes.
Back with a fresh batch.
My name is Stephen Johnston.
And my name is Jesse Titus.
Now, last week we did a one-off episode, which meant we reviewed one album and one beer.
Yep.
I don't remember what the beer was, but I sure as heck remember the album.
What was the beer?
I don't remember. Oh, it was Evil Twins with that really long name.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And Blink-182 with no name.
Yep. Forgot about that.
But this week we are back. With two new albums for us. Albums to us.
For us to
And
listen to and review.
two different beers.
Yes.
The albums are a little different from each other, I'd say.
Very different from each other.
I've been listening to Tourist History by Two Door Cinema Club.
And I've been listening to The Warrior's Code by the Dropkick Murphys.
Wow. Very good albums, if I have to say so.
I agree.
Well, before we get to those albums, let's get to some brews.
Why don't we?
Okay.
What do you have?
I am having a Duff beer.
A
April
Duff beer.
Fools! By the time you'll be hearing this, it'll probably be April 3rd. So
Yeah, it'll be a little bit after April Fool's, but we're recording it on April 1st.
April Fools to myself. I'm not having a Duff beer. I'm having the Southern Tier Creme Bruelee
Ooh.
Imperial Milk Stout. It says a
Dang.
dessert beer brewed with vanilla beans.
Sounds pretty good.
Here's I'm going to read the side here, and it's part of they call it their Blackwater series.
Okay.
They've had some other beers in that series, such as their it's not the Pumpkin, but the Warlock. The Warlock is part of it. Their chocolate, the coffee one. Any of those like real big stout type beers are usually in that Blackwater series.
Okay.
Here's what it says on the side of the brew. It says, dessert beer. We made big waves when we introduced chocolate in 2007. Since then, our affection for decadent, flavorful, dessert-like beers and a zeal to venture into the far corners of the flavor world have been the drivers in our endless quest to brew the perfect indulgence.
Oh.
Our dessert beers are a fusion of exotic flavors, making each of them perfect pairing when you are craving exceptional stout full of personality. Why the hell not?
Oh, yeah, why not?
I don't know why not.
That sounds pretty good.
But it clocks in at 10%, so it's a little boozy. It says the perfect balance of roasted malts, caramelized sugar, vanilla, and rich, creamy custard.
They should have said at the end of that, because sometimes you just have to get yourself something nice.
Yeah,
Treat
you do.
yourself.
Treat yourself.
Treat yourself today. And I'm having
An equally decadent beer?
probably not. I wouldn't use the word decadent. I would use the word delicious though. Well, actually, I don't really know. I've never had it, but it'll probably be good. It's from a brewing company that we both like quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's from a local brewery here in Nashville called nothing else but Nashville Brewing Company. Established in 1859, and this is their Nashzwickel.
Nashville.
A play on the normal
Zwickel?
Zwickel.
And
Yeah.
Nashville.
Yeah.
Nashville.
But this beer is a golden unfiltered lager. Their normal lager, just their straight up lager that they have year round and whatnot, is a fantastic lager.
Yeah, great example
With a really,
of a German
really
style
full
lager.
body. Yeah, on the German side of brewing.
And we have had a Zwickel on the podcast before on that Brian Fallon episode. It was the Urban Chestnut Zwickel.
Yes, and that was very good.
Yeah, delicious.
So I'm very much
top
looking
can.
forward to trying this from Nashville Brewing Company.
I think our beers are going to be as different as our albums.
Yeah,
Maybe, maybe not. Maybe more different. Who knows? Let's say we give these a crack and
Cracking a try.
and a pour.
Cracking a pour and a try.
Yeah.
We'll give it the old American Brews and Tunes try.
Yeah, the good old American Brews and Tunes try, which is we try everything. Usually turns out all right.
Yeah, normally it does. I mean,
think.
We'll see this time. Maybe it won't.
Now, the color of my delicious stout is fairly dark.
Yes.
Not as dark as the stout last week, the Evil Twin one. That one was like molasses and tar. This one is still fairly dark. It's got a pretty decent sized head, but I poured it vigorously, so that
You did. Yeah, that one is maybe just a few shades lighter than last week's.
yeah, and it's darker than like a Coca-Cola or a root beer.
Yes.
And
Quite darker.
I'd wager that it's much more delicious than Coca-Cola or Pepsi-Cola
or root beer.
or RC-Cola.
Or root beer.
I don't know. I like
Or
root beer a lot.
Shasta-Cola.
I don't know what Shasta-Cola is, but if it's anything like the other colas...
Shasta-Cola is the Sam's Club brand, I think.
Oh, I have no idea.
Or Kirkland. That's the Aldi brand.
Or Market Pantry.
That's the Target brand. I don't know if they have their own pop, though.
I don't know if they do either. I've
Do
never
they?
seen it. My beer smells quite good. I
Does it
think
smell good?
I get a lot of the vanilla, like that sweet vanilla flavors. Some of the stoutiness, but it's more like the vanilla sweetness and that creaminess that I'm getting.
Just a quick side note. Pardon my little bit under the weather voice. I think I might be coming down with a slight cold.
Uh-oh.
Or a cough or something.
My allergies have been in high gear.
And it's also allergy season here in Nashville.
Nashville has got a lot of
So my nose is all
pollen and stuff.
all stuffy and whatnot.
Yeah.
It gets to a point where you can actually like see the pollen like on your car.
I need to get a car wash
Yeah.
pretty frequently depending on where I'm driving.
Anyway, enough about pollen.
The color in your beer is pretty
Yeah, it is true
nice.
what they said, golden.
It is. It does look a little hazy, like a little unfiltered.
A little bit unfiltered, yeah.
Not as unfiltered as what I'd expect from a New England IPA, but it's not crystal clear, that's for sure.
Yep, and it smells exactly like I expected it to smell. It smells good. It smells like a traditional kind of German style brewing. You get that like really bready maltiness.
Deine Bierenstein, yeah. So let's say that we give these a cheer and a try.
Let's do it up.
As we always say on American Brews and Tunes. Down the hatch. Wow, this is sweet.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's really good. They're definitely not kidding when they say dessert beer.
Yeah.
It tastes very, very sweet. Maybe it's been a while since I've had a Southern Tier, like one of these Blackwater series beers, but whew, it's very good, but I don't think I could have more than one of them at a time.
Yeah.
It's really good, but it's actually...
Is it a sipper or is it like...
It doesn't taste as boozy as a 10%er should, but the flavor changes a little bit, and as I was saying, I'm not sure if I could have one of them more than one in a row. The sweetness kind of went away, and then I got that bitter, like the bitter roasty flavor. Okay. So that kind of comes afterwards, like a little burnt, almost like that roasty. It's kind of nice actually afterwards because you're kind of hit with a little bit of an overwhelming sweetness. Nice. I was like, this might be a little too much, a little too decadent. But because that roastiness comes in, it kind of balances it out. It makes for a nice little tasting experience.
Nice.
If I do say so myself, and I do.
Well, mine is definitely not that.
Oh, no?
It is exactly what I would expect from a golden unfiltered lager. It has a nice light flavor without sacrificing the substantialness of the body. It still has a very like full body, but the flavors aren't very heavy. It kind of like rests like a little flower petal on the water. That's what the taste of this beer does on your palate.
Interesting. Muy interesting. How's it compared to the
tasty.
Urban Chestnuts, Vickel?
I can't say that I remember it too well, just because that's been a while, right?
I don't remember when that was.
I think maybe the last time, because that Brian Fallon episode was before we went to see that Blink-182 cover band, right?
It was after.
Okay, so we had that after that.
Yeah, we went and saw a Blink-182 cover band play, and they had the Urban Chestnuts Vickel at the venue. It was a nice treat.
Yeah.
That was a fun show.
It was a fun show.
There was a lot of Enema of the State type era songs.
Yep.
Great show.
But anyway, I'm not disappointed by this beer at all. It's very tasty.
Yeah, good deal.
It's a good, easy drinker.
You want to do a switcheroo?
Sure.
See if you can experience the sweetness up front, and you almost think that it's not going to go away, and then
it does.
the roastiness will kind of creep up.
Okay. Whoa! I just putting my nose to it.
Do you get that?
Even though my
That's
nose
really
is
sweet smell?
partially stuffed up, it smells like creme brulee, like really creamy. It smells like coffee creamer or something like that.
Yeah, yours is very tasty. This is a good, easy drinking beer. I would have this any time of the day. Probably not breakfast, but maybe.
Maybe breakfast.
No, but you're right. It's got that the integrity of the grains, and it's true to the style. Solid, very solid beer.
I see what you're saying. It took about 7 or 8 seconds
So you don't think that
for
the bitterness is going to come
the sweetness to
be pushed
die
out?
down.
Yeah.
Yeah. But just right at the end, you kind of get like that little bit of molassesy bitterness.
up. Yeah, that's I think what makes it nice, because otherwise it might be a little overbearing.
Yeah. It's pretty good though. It definitely does not taste like 10%,
Yeah, it does not.
which might be bad.
Yeah, but unless you're having only one.
A dabble do.
Dabble do. Dabba dabba do. All right, let's dive into the music, shall we?
We shall. I'm gonna go first this week, talking about Dropkick Murphys' album, The Warrior's Code.
The Warrior's Code here.
That's the Warrior's Code.
When did this album come out? 2005?
2005, I believe.
Yeah. And it wasn't 2007, because that was their next album, which is called The Meanest of Times. Another great album.
The meanest?
Meanest. Yeah. I mean, it could be the meanest. I don't know.
This is the first Dropkick Murphys album that I've listened to. I know like the big songs.
Yeah.
Like
and
obviously,
you've seen them a couple times live.
Yeah, and they put on an amazing show.
Yeah, their live show is great.
I was actually talking to one of my coworkers recently, as he was training me for this new position that I'm in, and his ringtone is "Shipping Up to Boston."
Nice.
And I was like, "Great, that's gonna be stuck in my head all day now." And he was like, "Yeah, they're a great band." And I was like, "I saw them in Nashville like 2 years ago." And he was like, "I was at that show. It was awesome."
I was on stage at that show.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
At the end of every Dropkick Murphys show, they always play these handful of songs that are like staples, and everybody goes on stage and sings along with them. And when we were there, the security guard said, "No more people." And I turned to Jesse and our other friend, who's also named Jesse, and I said, "Throw me up there." And they picked me up and threw me over the security guard.
It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was.
But anyway, overall, I really like this album.
It's a good one.
I really like their style.
Celtic punk.
Yeah, Celtic punk is pretty much what it is. They use the bagpipes, the fife.
What is the fife?
I believe
Is it
the fife
flute?
is a little flute that they play. I believe that's what it's called.
In the original version of Shipping Up to Boston, they use one of those.
A
It
fife?
goes the...
Instead of the...
It's like that
What
and
are
a banjo playing it.
yeah.
Yeah. It's odd. Do you know where they got the cover for this album?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know if you were going to touch upon that or not.
Pretty sure I know.
I'll let you.
Well, we'll get there. Maybe in the next song.
Yeah, because I just watched a movie very recently that pertains.
Really? Okay, tell me about it after we talk about this first song.
Okie dokie.
Okay, the first song is called "Your Spirit's Alive," and the song is a tribute to the band's friend Greg Chicken Man Riley, a former hockey player who was a victim of 9/11.
Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't know he was, because I knew they'd talked about him before, like when they played
Yeah.
songs and they said this goes out to Chicken Man,
Yeah,
and I had no clue that he was involved in 9/11.
yeah. The song starts off with like a kind of like a classic like Celtic melody on the bagpipes, and then it gets really fast and really punk,
Super punk.
and it's awesome.
Yeah, it's one of the more punky songs on the
Yeah.
record.
Yeah, it's a really really cool song. Basically, yeah, it's just a tribute to their friend.
Good way to kick off the album,
Yeah,
like a punch in the face.
and saying your spirit's alive and like you're always with us.
And through it all.
I like that song. I didn't really give any recommendations because I actually like the whole album.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I mean, I guess I can recommend one song once I get there.
Okay.
But anyway, on to track number 2, which is The Warrior's Code,
Oh,
which
nice.
is where the album cover comes from, I believe.
And the album title, in case you couldn't tell.
Yep. And this song is about a boxer from, I guess, from where they're from.
From Lowell, Massachusetts.
Okay. It's a song about, I think his name is Mickey Ward.
Yeah.
And I guess he was like fearless in the ring, and he didn't win a whole lot, but his like spirit was like just a fearless nature.
He was the common man too.
Oh, really?
Every day. Have you ever heard of a movie called The Fighter starring Mark Wahlberg?
I've heard of it, yeah.
It's about Mickey Ward.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, it's such a good.
Was this song in it?
I believe it was, actually.
You'd think it would be.
I'm fairly certain it was while he's boxing or doing a montage or something, but
yeah,
it's Mark Wahlberg plays Mickey Ward, and Christian Bale plays his drugged out brother.
Oh, really?
Dickie, yeah.
Mickey and Dickie.
Yeah, and Christian Bale was so skinny in that role.
Really? Even skinnier than the Machinist?
Not as skinny as the Machinist.
Okay.
But pretty significantly
Still skinny though.
Skinnier than he should be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great movie. I'd recommend it if you haven't seen it.
But yeah, the chorus is Mickey, it's a warrior's code. Mickey.
Yeah, great song.
It's a fantastic song. That's what it's about. It's about Mickey, who was a fighter, and they just wanted to, I guess, honor him.
Yeah, because he's like a hometown hero kind of guy almost.
Yeah. Are they from Boston or are they from?
I think they're from just outside of Boston, but I
Okay.
don't know where in particular. While you're talking about them, I'll look it up just to confirm. If you ask anyone, they'll say, yeah, it's a Boston band.
Yeah.
And in fact, I saw them in Boston once on St. Patrick's Day, 2011. Oh, pardon me, 2009. I was 2 years too early. It was the first year that they had played at the House of the Blues in Boston.
That's pretty cool.
Such a great show.
You went there with your dad, right?
Yes, I was. I just looked it up. They were formed in Quincy, Massachusetts, which is part of the metropolitan Boston area. So it's like a Boston suburb, a southern suburb.
Okay.
So pretty much Boston.
Okay, cool. It's kind of weird that they have so many. They do a lot of like traditional Irish songs.
Well,
I guess are their ancestors are probably from Ireland or something like that.
I think they're mostly all Irish.
Yeah, makes sense.
Big Irish population there. If you ever seen The Departed, I think there's a lot of Irish cops.
Yeah, a lot of Irish cops.
Cops. Irish cops.
But the
Are you a cop?
the music video for that song features clips of him, like some of his matches.
Yeah.
Some of Mickey's matches.
Mickey,
he does it again.
Yeah, he doesn't really even look like a boxer.
Mm-mm. I guess that's what you're saying. Just like a common dude.
Yeah. The movie's really good too. It was done by David
it?
O. Russell. Like he did what the heck's that movie? Silver Linings Playbook.
Okay.
What was that movie where Christian Bale was in the 70s and he was real fat and had a comb over?
Oh.
American Hustle.
Yeah.
He did that one too. Same director. So he's really
He's done quite a few good
Yeah.
things. Nice.
Check it out. The Fighter, starring Mark Wahlberg.
I'll have to watch that.
I have it on
Whenever
DVD. It's also on
DVD.
Netflix right now.
Oh.
Just watch it.
Whenever you first said The Fighter, I immediately thought of a Cinderella Story.
Oh, that's a great one too.
And I was like, that's not the same movie, Jesse.
If you guys haven't seen A Cinderella Story, watch that as well.
Isn't that Russell Crowe?
Russell Crowe, yeah.
Yeah.
And directed by none other than Ron Howard.
Ron Howard.
A true American gem.
True American hero.
He really is. American Graffiti. Wasn't he in that?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I think he was. Don't quote me.
He
was in Happy Days.
Happy Days. I was about to say. I was like, I know what he was in Happy Days.
And he directed he directed Apollo 13.
Yes.
One of my favorite films of all time.
You know what? Enough about
Enough about
things
directors
that
and Ron
aren't
Howard.
the album.
Yeah, I know. I got sidetracked.
On to track number 3, called Captain Kelly's Kitchen. This is a version of a traditional Irish song, Courtin' in the Kitchen.
Courtin' in the Kitchen.
And it's basically about the woes of romance.
Yeah, pretty
It's
much.
essentially what it's about. It that tells a story of a single guy who gets seduced almost by this guy's daughter, And then he finds out, like the dad finds out, and she's like, I never did any of that. And then the kid's in trouble, and
Captain Kelly comes down the stairs into the kitchen.
Yeah.
And it's full of all kinds of mishaps and shenanigans.
Tomfoolery.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Good song.
This is a song with Turaluralai, 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 Turaluralai.
When I saw them do this in Boston, the bass player's daughter, along with her dance class, came out and did some Irish step dancing to this song.
Really?
It was so funny.
That's pretty cool.
And they were in like traditional Irish garb, whatever that. I don't know. I don't remember what it was, but it was interesting.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I like it.
Bunch of drunk people in the crowd, and then a bunch of kids on stage dancing. Weird combo, Dropkick Murphys style.
Yeah, seriously. On to track number 4. It's called "The Walking Dead." And this song is basically about how history repeats itself.
No connection to the TV show.
Yeah, absolutely none.
Or is there?
But the basic premise of this is the chorus where they say, "What's so new about what you're saying? It's a new generation with the same sad song. What's so new about what you're saying? Just another generation with the same sad song." Yeah, and in the song, in the bridge, there's that sweet Fender bass tone where it's like super punchy. It sounds awesome. But that's a really catchy song, and a lot of I feel like a lot of bands sing about this very same subject, where, like, literally, when you think about it, history does repeat itself, which we'll come back to later as well.
Very true.
Anyway, on to the next song, which is called "Sunshine Highway." This song, whenever I first heard it, kind of took me off guard.
Like, oh.
Because, like, it's, like, really sing-songy. Like, the chorus is, "Take another ride on the Sunshine Highway. Take another ride, try to turn it around." I was like, is this a theme song to a TV show?
It really could be. And it's got that fun accordion.
Yeah. But it does have a meaning to it, though.
Yeah.
Apparently, Sunshine Highway, I'm going to read this from Lyric Genius. It says, "The Sunshine Highway is actually the road towards the quote-unquote dry out center owned by John Dropkick Murphy, a former wrestler and the band's namesake. You take the Sunshine Highway to get to Dropkick Murphys, where you sober up for a few hours before you head home."
Interesting. I didn't know
and
that.
I guess the Sunshine Highway got its name from all the broken liquor bottles that were on the road that would reflect the sun when you drive on it, I guess.
Oh, so
that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's a lot different than what I expected.
Yeah. I mean, whenever I first heard it, I was like, Sunshine Highway. Maybe they're talking about doing drugs or something.
Maybe. Chasing the dragon on the Sunshine Highway.
Yep. But that's a really catchy song, though, even though it is, like, sing-songy and kind of strange. The next song is kind of interesting. It's the song called "Wicked Sensitive Crew."
It's a weird one.
It is a weird song.
Very weird one.
It seems to me that they're talking about how all these people nowadays are like so tough, and they're all just posers, and they're not actually tough guys. That's what it seems like. Like, one of the lyrics is, "Well, it's all gone to hell now. The wimps have gangs. Pop punk tough guys with neck tattoos. Well, if you guys are hard, then I'd rather be soft. Man, I gotta find me some seriously sensitive dudes."
It's really kind of odd.
It's really weird. He's almost like saying, like, "Oh, you guys are tough now? Wow, I must be, like, really sensitive and really, like, not tough," or something like that.
Remember the part about Rocky in this song?
Yeah.
Do you know what they say about it?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to read it?
Do you want to say it?
Yeah,
okay.
I got it right here.
Steve, you can say it.
In the actual song, they say, "I ain't ashamed I cried when Mickey died in Rocky 2. And they have a little asterisk on that lyric, and right below it, in the liner notes, it says, "Mickey actually died in Rocky 3, but hey, sue us, 2 rhymed better." And they're right.
Yeah, so that's one of the lyrics in it. It's pretty funny.
It's a goofy song.
It is a really goofy song, and I'm not exactly sure what it's about. But there is another part in the song where they talk about Teddy Huggy Bear et al. The line is, "Man, they know what's up for sure. You see, it's home to the godfather of love, the bald little man who started it all, one Teddy Huggy Bear et al."
No idea.
And I learned that Teddy et al. Is a concert promoter from Albany, New York,
Oh.
who apparently he like booked a lot of like punk shows and like hard shows.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess in between bands, like he would like come up and talk about love and how everybody needs to be loving each other more. So he got the nickname Huggy Bear.
So he was a sensitive guy, even though he's probably tough.
Yeah. Yep.
Too funny.
But so that's a pretty good song. Not my favorite, but it's pretty good though.
Yeah.
On to track number 7, which is called The Burden. And from what I could tell, this song is about someone named Frankie who's going to be all right.
Yeah, Frankie's gonna be all right.
I'm not sure if they're referencing someone specific when they're saying Frankie, but
I never really knew.
it could be. It's a catchy song, though.
Catchy. Whoever Frankie may be.
Yeah, Frankie, whoever you are, I hope you're doing all right.
Maybe it's Frankie Avalon.
Frankie Avalon?
Yeah.
Who's that?
The singer.
From what?
Like the olden days. Oldies.
From the olden days?
Was it Frankie Avalon in the Four Seasons?
Maybe.
Am I making that up?
You might be making that up.
What was his backing crew? While you're talking, I'm going to look this up because
All
I'm
right.
drawing a blank.
Well, on to track number 8, which is called Citizen CIA. And from what I can tell, this is them kind of bashing the way America's military works, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really, really fast song, really good song. It's a little bit of a shorter song, and I'm guessing that's exactly what they're talking about. So that's your thing. It's a good song.
I can't find anything about Frankie Avalon. In
Maybe
the
you got
backing group.
the-
I think it's just him by himself.
Maybe you got the last name wrong.
No, but there's Frankie Avalon's definitely a big like pop singer from back in the day. Like back in the 40s. I'm sorry. Probably earlier than that.
Okay.
No. 50s.
Okay.
So I was incorrect. He was born in the 40s. My bad.
But anyway, on that same theme of kind of like dissing military or like not really agreeing with the way the military operates, we get to the next song, which is called The Green Fields of France, which is the one song that I would recommend if I had to choose one.
Interesting.
It's a cover that the Dropkick Murphys did of the
I
song.
wouldn't have picked this one.
Hmm?
I wouldn't have picked this one as your...
It's a great song.
I mean, it's a good song,
It's
yeah.
a fantastic song. It's their cover of No Man's Land by Eric Bogle. And it's basically an anti-war song, but they tell it through the eyes of someone singing about a 19-year-old who died in World War I in 1916. And it follows William McBride. And my favorite parts of the song are, well, first of all, the music. It's really kind of like, it's a little bit slower. They have like a lot of fife and a lot of bagpipes and
Fife.
a very
Goes west.
traditional Irish chord progression, which sounds really good. But the chorus is, did they beat the drums slowly? Did they play the fife lowly? Did they sound the death march as they lowered you down? Did the band play the last post and chorus, which is a song traditionally played on the bugle at a funeral?
Like taps?
Yeah, like taps.
Similar to...
But it's last
but
post and chorus.
Interesting.
And then did the pipes play the flowers of the forest, which is a traditional, I believe it's a traditional Scottish folk tune, generally played at a funeral. So you have that as the chorus. So they are continually coming back to this, like questioning what they did for his funeral. And there's one verse that I very much like, where they say, the sun shining down on these green fields of France, the warm wind blows gently and the red poppies dance. The trenches have vanished long under the plow. No gas, no barbed wire, no guns firing now. But here in this graveyard that's still no man's land, the countless white crosses in mute witness stand. to man's blind indifference to his fellow man, and a whole generation were butchered and damned. And then it goes back in, did they beat the drum slowly? Did they play the fife lowly? Did they sound the death march as they lowered you down? Did the band play the last post and chorus? Did the pipes play the flowers of the forest? So it's kind of connecting with that song from before where the same sad story from the same sad song or whatever, the same questions, history repeating itself. In a later part of this song, they also say, did you really believe that this war would end wars? Well, the suffering, the sorrow, the glory, the shame, the killing and dying, it was all done in vain. Oh, William McBride, it all happened again and again and again and again and again.
War.
So, yeah.
Keeps happening.
I just think it's a fantastic song that really describes the kind of like inner conflict with people who have to go to war and almost like it's necessity, which is completely unfortunate.
Yeah.
But it's a great song.
Yeah,
great cover song.
They
of a
support
fantastic
soldiers,
song.
not war.
Yeah.
That's what they're, yeah.
Yeah, they definitely do, as we'll see in a later song as well.
Yeah. That is very true.
Yeah. It has to be one down note in every episode.
Yeah, and there's a big down note
Or
in this song.
one reality note there. Are you talking about Take It and Run?
No. I am not.
Oh, from the green fields of France?
No. Something that is to come.
Oh, okay.
More of a down note later.
Yeah. Well, the next song called Take It and Run is a song about a single mother named Maureen, I guess, who is struggling to like keep a job, and she has kids and struggling to feed her kids. And basically it's about how them saying like, all your dreams are going to come true one day, Maureen. Like, just keep fighting and keep going for it.
What's her name? Marlene?
No, Maureen. Inside joke.
No one's going to get that.
Mm-mm. Literally nobody, actually.
It's very true.
Anyway, on to the next song, and probably their most popular song. I'm Shipping Up to Boston.
Oh, nice.
And you want to know the funniest thing about this song?
They didn't write the lyrics?
That is right.
Is that the funniest part?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I learned
it's a
that
poem.
it is a song, or the lyrics were written by Woody Guthrie.
Yeah.
And
American
I
poet,
guess
musician, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah, and I guess Matt Kelly, the drummer of the Dropkick Murphys, said, "We were bestowed the honor by his daughter of being able to go through his lyrical archives and pick out a song or two of unpublished lyrics that we thought would be kind of cool."
Yeah, they picked out this one.
Yeah, so they picked out that one, and whenever this song came out, it wasn't like really popular. It never made it to like the Billboard 100 or anything like that until The Departed.
Yes.
In 2007. What year did that movie come out?
I don't know when it came out, but it's probably around that time.
But they put that song in that movie,
a couple,
and then
I think it pops up twice.
Yeah, and then one of the Boston Red Sox players had it as their walk-up song, like during the playoffs.
And now this is at every sporting
And now
event.
it's like, yeah, like every like crazy sporting event ever.
If you go see any sporting event live, you'll probably hear this song.
Yeah, and if you haven't heard it,
I'd be very surprised.
Very
good song.
So as to what it's about, I guess there's a sailor who lost his leg. Whenever he was climbing up the topsails, he lost his leg. And so he's shipping up to Boston. Whoa. Shipping up to Boston. Whoa. To find his wooden leg. That's what it's about.
Those are the exact lyrics repeated over and over again. But it's a great song.
Except they say, I'm shipping off to Boston. Whoa.
Ship it up
To Boston. Whoa.
Whoa. What a great song.
To find my wooden leg. A fantastic song.
A good song to rage to.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Now back to a traditional song. It's it's not really traditional. It's the song is called The Odd Triangle.
Ald,
AULD.
Is it
But it
true?
almost sounds like they're pronouncing it old, but it's old. And it's the same as Auld
Auld
Lang
Lang
Syne.
Syne.
Yeah.
Is it not traditional? Is it
No.
Is it in the public domain?
No.
The guy's still alive? Or it's protected?
Well, I'm guessing, because what is it? After they die, it's 70 years after their death, it's still protected?
Yeah, U.S. copyright dictates that the copyright survives the life of the author plus 70 years.
Well,
Let me look it up while you continue.
From what I can tell, the Odd Triangle was first performed in 1954 as part of the play The Quare Fellow. Now, I'm not sure if that song existed before it was performed in a play, but perhaps it was.
I don't know. That's a good question. I can't really find too much on it other than it was first performed for that.
As far as I know, maybe it is a traditional song, but it follows the story of occurrences in Mountjoy Prison, and
And the odd triangle went jingle, jangle.
yeah,
Their version is a lot faster and different.
The original version is way different
Mm-hmm.
than the Dropkick Murphys version.
I like the version in Inside Llewyn Davis is really good.
Oh, I didn't know they played this song in that.
Mm-hmm. Chris Thiele from what the heck is that band that he's in? Nickel Creek.
Oh, really?
Chris Thiele,
right.
the mandolin player.
Yeah.
He sings this in Inside Llewyn Davis.
Oh,
Great
okay.
part.
I'll have to look that up later.
Yeah, it's a good one.
But anyway, it was first made famous by the Dubliners in the 60s.
I got that version on my computer.
And then the Pogues also had a version of it in the 80s.
Makes sense.
And then the Dropkick Murphys. And I'm sure many other bands had versions of it as well.
It's fairly popular. I want to say traditional, but I guess it's not. I looked at the writer up. He died in 1964, so it should still be protected by copyright, I believe.
Yeah.
At least for a little while longer.
What, for like another 20 years? Ish?
A little less than that.
Yeah. Anyway, on to another kind of a sad song.
Mm-hmm.
It's track number 13. It's called Last Letter Home.
It's a fairly sad song in context.
Yeah. This, it kind of has a similar feeling to the Green Fields of France.
Yeah, about the war.
About the war, except this is the war in Iraq.
Yeah, much more current
yeah.
than World War I or whatever that was.
And this song is dedicated to Sergeant Andrew Ferrer, who died in the Al Anbar province of Iraq. And I guess he loved the Dropkick Murphys like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess he really loved their song, The Fields of Athenry.
That's a traditional one, but their version's really good.
Yeah. And I guess they actually played that at his funeral.
Yeah. Would you like
Which
me
is
to read
pretty
the
cool.
liner notes about this song?
Yeah.
Got some good stuff here. It says, this is a full paragraph I'm going to read here. We had already finished this song that was based on general correspondences to and from the soldiers serving in Iraq when we were contacted by the family of Sergeant Andrew Ferrer, who had recently died while serving there. The family wanted to tell us that he was a big supporter of the Dropkick Murphys. They also passed on a letter that he had written to his mother shortly before his death, in which he thanked her for sending him a Dropkick Murphys CD and said that if anything should happen to him while in Iraq, he would like one of our songs played at his funeral. He also left behind a wife, Melissa, and 2 young boys, Tyler and Liam. His tour of duty in Iraq was coming to an end, and he was due to come home and renew his wedding vows with Melissa to another song of ours, Forever. Sergeant Ferrer died on January 28th on his 31st birthday. We were present at his funeral to grant his wish and played Fields of Athenry at his casket as his casket entered the church. The song was rewritten to include excerpts from that letter. And you can hear, like, they're in that bridge, they read the letter.
Yeah.
Like one of the letters, at least.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool to see a band do something like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, on to track number, the last track. That's called Tessie.
Tessie.
And this is a song, basically like an ode to the Boston Red Sox.
Literally.
It's basically what it is. I guess back in the day, the Boston Red Sox had this like choir or like gang that would sing and cheer the Red Sox on. And at that time, they weren't called the Red Sox. They were called something else. I can't remember what they were called, but they weren't called the Red Sox.
Something closer to the
It was
Patriots
like
or something
American
weird.
something or other.
It was a weird name. I don't remember specifically, but I know.
But I guess they would sing. I think it's either the group is called Tessie, or they would like sing a song called Tessie, and cheer on the Red Sox. And basically, this is a song about how they love the Red Sox. Yeah. It's pretty good though.
They released this before the album came out because this was the theme song of the 2004 Red Sox team.
Oh, really?
And then that team went on to win the World Series. So,
so then all of a sudden the Dropkick Murphys are good luck.
Yeah, they're like, we did this, not the team.
That's funny.
Would you like to switch gears?
Yeah, let's switch it up.
From
Do like a
Dropkick
180.
Murphys to Two-Door
Cinema
Cinema Club.
Two-Door
Two-Door Cinema Club. The album is called Tourist History, or for anyone else, Tourist History.
No. It's not pronounced that heavily.
Just
tourist history.
Yeah, Tourist History. This album came out in 2010, a great year. I guess it's just a year.
You graduated high school.
Yeah, those are fine years.
I guess that was okay.
It was a year. It's their debut full-length album. And despite how they may sound, they're from Northern Ireland.
Really?
Yeah, go figure, huh?
Yeah.
Because you can't pick up any accent on the record.
I can't pick it up at all.
It's crazy. When I saw they're from Northern Ireland, I'm like, really? Like, what? This album took me a while to get into, not going to lie.
Yeah.
Like the first few listens, the songs kind of blended together a little bit. And not that they all sound the same, but there's definitely a vibe, a feel that goes to all of them. It took me a while to kind of...
There definitely is a vibe.
Kind of separate the songs, yeah. But eventually, it grew on me. It's a super dancey record.
Mm-hmm. Very dancey.
More dancey than most things I would listen to. It's got that disco-y kind of feet, like drum beat where the hi-hat opens up on the upbeat. So it's like boots, cats, like a club beat almost.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's all on an acoustic drum set. It's not like electronic sounding. It's just that way. This album, though it is now really like highly regarded and popular, it did not do well at first. It did well in Ireland, but it didn't even chart, I think, in the US or Canada or the UK, or London, I should say, England. But as time has told us, this album went on to do really well, and Two-Door Cinema Club is now a fairly large band.
I wonder if they were like slightly ahead of their time, because this came out in 2010.
2010.
Well, I suppose MGMT was still around then.
Yeah, I mean they're an indie kind of like rock dance group. I don't know what you would call them, but this was right around the time that was starting to get like huge, even a little before that. So I think they were right in the right place at the right time.
Yeah,
but I don't think they were ahead of their time. Let's dive in, shall we?
We shall.
The first song is called "Cigarettes in the Theater."
In the theater.
I don't know why they didn't call it in the cinema, because they're the Two-Door Cinema Club. I gave this a rating of 3.5 Door Cinema Club.
Gosh.
It's a good album opener. Like most album openers that we talk about, it's high energy, and it gives a clear indicator of what's to come. It showcases their sound fairly well. The drums in the intro and the verses kind of throws me off a little bit.
Okay.
It almost sounds like he's hitting a different snare, like that really high, like he hits like these weird snare hits. And if you go back and listen to it, it almost sounds like those tiny snares that are really tight, like the real high-pitched ones. Yeah. It sounds really cool, don't get me wrong.
Like the marching snares?
Yes. Okay. And it's not the one that, when you hear the chorus, it's definitely not the same snare hit. But thematically, the song's about meeting a girl randomly, like they're at the theater and they both smoke and they just happen to meet each other
Run
smoking.
Into each other outside.
Yeah.
For a ciggy break.
And they start a relationship. Seems to be the start of a great relationship, but then comes track number 2.
Oh.
Track number 2 is called Come Back Home. I gave this a rating of 4 Door Cinema Club, and I recommended it. I'm not sure if I would say that it's related to the first song, but a lot of places that I looked said that these two songs were related. I don't know if I would have guessed that, but a lot of people can't be wrong. A lot of people can be wrong, but a lot of people likened it to almost like a sequel to the first song. Whereas that song, Cigarettes in the Theater, is the beginning of a relationship. Come Back Home is the end of a relationship. Like everything's kind of sad, but he's kind of hoping that she finds another way, like a better way. because she might not have the strength to do it. So I think he's kind of trying to nudge her because they both kind of know it's bad. In not just in this song, but kind of all across the record, they're fairly vague. They don't really go into specific details at all. So there's a lot of interpretation that can happen here.
Yep.
A lot of people may think they know, but unless the artist tells you, who knows?
Yeah.
There's a really cool riff when the music kicks in. And it's kind of like urgent and I don't want to say ominous, but it's kind of like got that menacing feel to it. It's a very specific, subjective way to describe that sound.
Yeah.
But that's how I feel when I hear that.
A very subjective way. That's a good way to put it.
But when the chorus comes in, it's positive and like major and hopeful sounding. When you come, I come. And it just sounds happy there until it gets back to the verses. But it has a nice counterpoint between the verses and chorus, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Moving on to track number 3. And I have to actually switch pages to go to track number 3 because for some reason the Spotify track listing was different than the actual track listing.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm going to have to jump around my pages a little bit.
Okay.
Track number 3 is called Do You Want It All? I gave this a rating of 4 Door Cinema Club, and I recommended it.
Oh, 2 recommendations in a row.
I know. Can you believe that?
I
can believe it. This has a softer feel than the previous two songs. The other two were a little more abrasive. Not in a bad way, just more...
There's a little bit more
higher
upbeat
energy, a little bit... Not even upbeat, just faster, louder, punchier maybe. A better word to say than abrasive. But I think abrasive is a good way to describe the other ones. This song has a lot of repetitions. A lot of repetitions.
Yep.
A lot of repetitions.
A lot of repetitions.
Not a bad thing. That causes the song to be memorable. The lines get stuck in your head, and it's really easy to sing along to.
Yeah.
There's 2 main parts that they repeat a lot. It's the do you want it, do you want it, do you want it all, do you want it, do you want it, do you want it all? And then in the last maybe like third of the song, all because you want to be all because you want to be all because you want to be all. And eventually they kind of morph those 2 lines into each other, and they're both going on at the same time. It's really cool sounding, but it might almost be like Radiohead-esque, where it's not necessarily about the lines that they're saying as much as they're using the vocal part as part of a musical idea.
Yeah. They're trying to create like a scene, trying to create a soundscape rather than you focusing on one melody or one line.
From my understanding, I think Radiohead does it a little bit more.
Yes.
Maybe a little bit more abstractly, but
they do.
That's just a good way to describe it, I suppose.
Yep.
Moving on to track number 4. This song is called This Is the Life. I gave it 3.5 Door Cinema Club. So I guess that half door is probably maybe like a dumbbell door or something,
Dumbbell door?
Maybe like when you like knock on the door and the door halfway opens like password. So that's your half door.
A dumbbell door?
Oh, good one. I didn't even think about that.
Albus.
This song's not as repetitive as Do You Want It All, but it's still fairly repetitive in the chorus. If this is the life, this is the life, this is the life, then I want to. And so it's repetitive again, and it gets stuck in your head, really easy to memorize.
And has that same hi-hat on the upbeat, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Almost every song has that at some point, it seems like. There might be one song that doesn't, but it's pretty much every song. Hard to tell what this song's about, so I'm just going to base it on some of the things that I read, some of the things that people said it was about. Some people said it's about ignoring real life and like real issues because everything in your life is going good, I guess. So maybe it's not as it seems, but you're not really caring. I don't know. I didn't really...
Maybe it's just about love and life. This is the life. This is the life.
It could be. I don't know. Let's move on to track number 5, which is called I Can Talk. I gave this a rating of 5 Door Cinema Club, the highest rating, and it's my last recommendation.
5 Door Cinema
Very
Club.
catchy. It starts off with this really odd vocal part where it's like the it sounds really odd.
Yeah, it does.
And then the music comes in. And for some reason, like when I heard this song the first time, and even when I listen to it now, his vocal, like the sound of his voice reminds me of Ben Gibbard. I don't know if have you ever listened to what the heck's that band called? Death Cab for Cutie.
Yeah.
Have you ever listened to them? It sounds like him to me. Like I hear him saying, dun, 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 and it just reminds me of Death Cab for Cutie, like the sound of his voice.
Yeah.
And it's really odd. But he sings a couple lines in the verse, and then it almost comes to like a pre-chorus part, and they add these really odd harmonies, and it almost sounds like a computer talking to you.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like right before the chorus comes in, and it's striking. I feel like they did that on purpose because this song's about talking, quote unquote. More specifically, I think they're talking about people's ideas and opinions and how not everyone's is really valued as like in the same amount as other people's.
Yeah.
Not everyone can talk or whatever.
Yes, that does make sense.
Yeah, but it's really interesting. It's very, very catchy song. Every song on this album's catchy, I'm not going to lie. But this one's in particularly very catchy.
Yeah.
Let's move on to track number 6, which is called Something Good Can Work. I gave this a rating of 4-door Cinema Club.
Another 4-door.
But it's not a recommendation.
Is that a 4-door sedan?
Nope, 4-door Cinema Club.
Oh.
No sedans here. This is a slightly softer sounding song than some of the other ones too. Still dancing and catchy, obviously, but for lack of a better word, less abrasive.
Less abrasive.
Yeah. It's hard to peg the song's meaning, like most of them, but it seems like he's convincing a girl to prove herself to the world, even though she's full of insecurity. I'm not sure if it's like him trying to say like, let's get into a relationship, or he's trying to inspire confidence, but I can't tell if it's like inspiring confidence to start a relationship or to better her life. It's vague, but that's what it seems to be about, at least on the macro level. I don't know. Number 7, which is called Undercover, and I believe it's Martin. It's spelled Martyn, and that is an Irish spelling of the name.
Martin.
I gave this a rating of 3.5 door Cinema Club. It's got like a really fast intro until the lyrics come in.
Mm-hmm.
And she's fine, da, 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 da. And it's basically just him saying that melody line where there's a guitar going brum,
yeah,
brum, and eventually it builds and you hear a drum beat and then more instruments come in and then the chorus happens and they do that same build up again. But it's got that line, to the basement people, to the basement.
The basement people.
And this song's about
basement.
a friend who might not like be socially confident. They're a little, maybe have depression or like this social anxiety and they don't want to go out. They want to stay in their basement. They've got that isolation thing going on. And he's trying to convince them to come out. And he even talks about them like getting the guy to go out and the guy's getting sick in the car because he's nervous, I guess. So it's kind of just interesting trying to get him like a friend to go out. Interesting theme for this.
Yeah.
Sounds like something that could have been on the, what was that last British dance band that you had?
Arctic Monkeys?
Oh, yeah. Like a theme for them because they're always talking about going to clubs and stuff.
Yeah.
So I imagine this could be a theme that would fit on that record. But it's a little different for this album, I think. But I like that song a lot. It's very catchy. Moving on to track number 8. This is called What You Know. It's my honorable mention, and I gave it 4-door Cinema Club. The only reason I honorably mentioned it is because it's so golden and catchy.
Yes.
Lyrically, I don't know. I think it's about a guy realizing that his girlfriend really doesn't want to be alone, and maybe that's the only reason why she wants to be with him. I think it's very vague. I could be completely missing the mark on that one. That's what I got out of it.
This is the first song that I heard from them.
Yeah, this is, at least according to iTunes, the most popular song.
Yeah. I
heard
heard it at first and I was like, wow, that's really catchy.
Yep.
I was like, I should definitely check them out. And then I didn't check them out for a little bit. And then I did.
And now I'm checking it out.
Yeah.
On to the penultimate track number 9. This is called Eat That Up. It's Good For You. I didn't give this a rating. I don't know why, but I'm just going to go ahead and give it a rating of 3 3/4 door Cinema Club.
What kind of door would that be? A 3/4 door?
You know, like when you go into a horse stable and the
like
top opens, but the bottom doesn't?
What about the saloon? Saloon doors?
No, because those open the whole way.
Oh,
The horse door where the bottom doesn't open, but the top does, so you can feed him.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
Where Mr. Ed pops out. This has a droning instrument at the beginning. Perhaps an organ? Not really sure.
Probably something similar.
Yeah.
Some type of keyboard.
That's what I got. At least I thought it was. This one's not too fast. Again, it's not as abrasive.
As abrasive.
But it's got a really nice feel. The title seems odd, but it really makes sense in the context. Do you know what the song's about? It seems like he's talking to a girl, and I'm fairly confident it's a girl because he talks about like saying you look better without all the makeup. Maybe that's a guy, who knows? But
Never know.
probably a girl, just going by normalities. It seems like the girl went through a bad breakup and is either abusing alcohol or drugs to deal with it. And he's not really like offering solutions per se, but just kind of like talking with her and like talking her through it and just like there to say, we'll get through it, but it might happen again because it's a cycle or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's a really good song, kind of catchy. And to end on a down note, the last song is called You're Not Stubborn, and I'm going to be stubborn about this.
Okay.
I gave this a rating of 2 Door Cinema Club, and though the rating is the name of the band, it's still technically 2 out of 5. Objectively, it's catchy, and it fits in with the sound of the rest of the album.
Yeah.
It just doesn't do much for me.
Gotcha.
So it's nothing wrong with the track. It just doesn't jive with me. That's all.
Does it jive with what you jive normally with?
Yeah, it really doesn't. In all honesty, if I was to listen to this front to back, I might skip this one.
Skip the last one.
It's not bad. I think the best part of this song is the bass tone. It sounds like he uses a Music Man Stingray, that Ernie Ball bass.
Yeah.
And it's one of my favorite bass tones that you can get out of a bass guitar.
Yeah.
And that sound pops up a lot in the album, so I didn't mention it earlier, but I had to mention it on this song because it might be the only good part about it. But all in all, good album.
Nice.
Took me a while to get into, but worth it.
Nice.
Yeah. Looking forward to our next episode. It will be another one-off, and I believe instead of reviewing one album, we will review one song.
Yes.
You might be thinking,
Curious.
one song? What the heck? We're going to review a song that's almost 19 minutes long
Yes.
by a band that we've reviewed on this podcast before. No Effects.
Oh, yeah.
The song is called The Decline.
Heck yeah.
It's a beast of a song, and so
It
we're going
is.
to take a one-off episode to tackle it.
Yep.
But
It's going to be good. If you have not heard it, give it a listen.
give it a listen. If you're ever out at a bar that has a jukebox, put it
Play
on
it,
because it's got the
because-
same credit
Yeah.
rate as other songs.
You get 20 minutes worth of music
Yeah,
for the same amount.
I have this on a 12-inch record, like a regular like sized vinyl, and it takes up an entire side.
Yeah.
It's so good.
So funny. I love it. Any final thoughts on your beer?
It stayed pretty consistent. The sweetness went down a little bit, but maybe that's because I got used to it.
Yeah.
Probably that, actually. But really good beer. I'm happy with it. What about you?
Nice. As you might expect, it stayed very consistent.
Yeah, I figured it would be.
Consistent all the way through.
Nashville
last
Brewing Co
drop.
does a really good job.
Yeah.
Good to the last drop.
They do a very fantastic job. If you're in the Nashville area, check them out.
Yeah. Let's say we finish these beers and sign off.
Let's do it up.
Down the hatch. Once again, my name is Stephen Johnston.
And my name is Jesse Titus.
Here's a theme song, you know it's not a mean song. It's a good song, just as it should song. American brews and tunes. Shibbity beeby da.